12 homes, one state, all under $65,000, and some of them will make you genuinely question reality. We are talking about a church on Zillow for 20 grand, a house with fire damage to the roof that somebody still listed for $16,000, a duplex in the state capital where the seller is already pitching you an Airbnb strategy, and somewhere near the end of this list, a few houses that might actually be worth buying. But here's the thing, I held one back. It does not have a number. It is not ranked. I'm saving it for the very end of this video, and if you leave before you see it, you are gonna regret it. This is Alabama. This is real. Number 12, 27th Street, Birmingham, Alabama, $16,000. We are starting here because this is not really a house listing. This is a warning label with an address. $16,000. That is the price of a decent used car. And what are you getting for that? A 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,500 square foot home built in 1930 in Birmingham. And the Zillow listing openly tells you it has fire damage to the roof and the attic. It was also sold via quitclaim deed, which means the title history on this property is about as clean as the roof is not. Let's talk about what that actually means. A quitclaim deed does not guarantee anything. It does not say the seller owns it clean. It does not say there are no liens, no back taxes, no claims sitting out there waiting for you to become the new owner before they show up and introduce themselves. You are buying whatever this person has, whatever that is, with no promises attached. And then you have the fire damage. Roof and attic fire damage on a house built in 1930 means you are potentially looking at knob and tube wiring, old-growth lumber that may or may not be salvageable, and structural questions that a quick walkthrough is not going to answer. People throw out the $40,000 rehab number on houses like this, and it sounds reasonable until the contractor opens the ceiling and finds out the fire traveled further than anyone thought. Birmingham's median household income sits at $46,000 a year, and about a quarter of the city lives below the poverty line. Crime grade puts Birmingham in the 26th percentile for safety nationally, meaning roughly 3 out of 4 American cities score better on that metric. This property is not a house. It is a legal and structural argument you are buying for $16,000. Whether you win that argument is entirely up to you. Number 11, 3rd Street, NE, Graysville, Alabama, $20,000. Stop. Read that square footage again. 6,952 square feet for $20,000 in Alabama. Now, here's the part of the listing that makes this property famous. The seller literally describes it as an old church that could potentially be built into a 5-bedroom, 3 full-bath home. That sentence is doing a lot of heavy lifting, because what you actually have here is a former church, brick construction, high ceilings, tile flooring, central heat and air, finished full basement, sitting on a standard city lot with public water and sewer already connected, and somebody has listed it on Zillow in the residential section for 20 grand. The math here is genuinely strange. Nearly 7,000 square feet of enclosed structure, basement space alone that is larger than some entire apartments, and the annual property tax is $377. That is $1 a day to hold this thing while you figure out what it is. The listing even throws in a small disclaimer that the mailing address and the GPS location may differ from the actual property location, which, for a church that is being sold as a house, feels like exactly the kind of detail that belongs in a horror movie but also belongs in your due diligence checklist. The Graysville area shows a median household income around $63,000, higher than a lot of markets we will see today, but crime grade still rates the area D+ and puts it in the 28th percentile for safety nationally. The block-level reality could be better or worse than that number. You would need boots on the ground to know. $20,000 for nearly 7,000 square feet of former church. You were either a visionary or you were about to fund someone else's cautionary tale on a real estate forum. 2 houses in, a fire-damaged tax deed property, and a church on Zillow for 20 grand. I promise you the list gets stranger before it gets rational, and I still haven't shown you what I held back. Stay with me because it's worth it. Number 10, Burton Avenue, Montgomery, Alabama, $29,500. We are $29,500 into this video, and we finally have something that thinks it is a business plan. This is a duplex, built in 1900, sitting in the orbit of downtown Montgomery, and the listing is not pretending it is a forever home. It is pitching you an income strategy. The seller says you could rent one unit long-term and put the other on Airbnb. That is two revenue streams from one $29,000 purchase. Whether that math actually works in this specific block of Montgomery is a conversation for a local property manager, not a Zillow listing description. Montgomery is Alabama's capital city with just under 200,000 people and a median household income of around $56,000. There is a tourism and government economy here that supports short-term rental demand in a way that smaller Alabama markets cannot. But the violent crime picture is rough. Neighborhood Scout puts the odds at roughly 1 in 140 for violent crimes citywide, and property crime sits around 1 in 45. Those are citywide averages, and downtown areas vary dramatically. What makes this one interesting is the concept, not the condition. A duplex at this price point gives you flexibility that a single-family fixer does not. You do not have to solve the whole problem at once. Stabilize one unit, generate income, fund the other side. That is a playbook that investors use successfully all over the country. The question is always whether this specific block in this specific city supports it. For $29,500 in a state capital, it's at least worth asking the question. Number 9. South Court Street, Montgomery, Alabama, $32,500. This one is straightforward, and that is actually the point. $32,500 gets you 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,700 square feet, and 4/10 of an acre in Montgomery. There are pecan trees on the lot, not as a selling point buried in the description, as a literal feature of the property. You have mature trees producing actual food, and the seller is mentioning it because at $32 grand, they need everything they can get working in their favor. The size story is what carries this one. 1,700 square feet and 2 full bathrooms is a functional family-sized floor plan. This is not a starter efficiency or a cramped fixer. This is a house that, cleaned up and with mechanicals in decent shape, could actually function as a home. Whether it gets to that point depends entirely on what the inspection reveals, what the permit history looks like, and how deep the deferred maintenance goes. Same Montgomery market context applies here. Capital city, roughly 200,000 residents, $56,000 median income, elevated crime citywide. You are buying in a city with real economic anchors and real risk indicators at the same time. The pecan trees, though, that is not nothing. Number 8. McLemore Road, Montgomery, Alabama, $33,900. This is the listing that makes sense on paper and requires the most homework in person. $33,900 for a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,300 square foot Montgomery house being sold explicitly as an investor and flipper target. The seller is not dressing this up. The listing says it needs repairs and updates throughout and is ideal for investors and project-minded buyers. That language means whoever's selling this knows the pool of buyers is not first-timers who want move-in ready. Quick flag on the lot size. Zillow shows nearly 4,000 acres for this property, which is clearly a data entry error and not a real number. Do not let that inflate your excitement. Verify the actual lot dimensions independently before you get emotionally attached to the idea of owning a large chunk of Montgomery. What you're really buying here is a standard mid-century Montgomery house that needs work, priced for someone who knows how to do that work. If you have contractors, a realistic rehab budget, and a clear exit strategy, rent, flip, or hold, this is the kind of inventory that makes sense. If you're guessing at any of those 3 things, it's a much harder play. 4 Montgomery houses in a row. I get it, but we're about to leave Montgomery and hit Mobile, Fayette, Pell City, and some small Alabama towns that are going to completely reframe what cheap means in this state. One of the houses coming up has newer windows, fruit trees, pecan trees, a deep well, and 257 feet of road frontage for $65,000, and I still haven't shown you what I'm saving for the end. Keep watching. Number 7. Fall Avenue, Mobile, Alabama, $42,500. Mobile finally shows up on the list, and it brings the most normal-looking house we have seen so far. $42,500. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, 1,144 square feet, built in 1986 on a lot just over 8,000 square feet. Privacy fenced yard, porch, off-street parking, a 10 by 12 storage shed out back, hardwood floors through most of the interior, tile in the bathroom, vinyl in the kitchen, vacant and ready for updates. There is nothing wild about this one, and that is exactly the point. No fire damage, no church conversion, no quitclaim deed mystery, just a vacant 80s house that somebody needs to sell and has already cut the price on. It was listed at $47,500 in March and dropped to $42,500 in April. That price cut tells you the market is pushing back. Someone listed it optimistically and then had to come down. Mobile is Alabama's third largest city at around 200,000 residents with a median income around $53,000. Neighborhood Scout puts violent crime risk around 1 in 135 citywide, with property crime around 1 in 58. Similar risk profile to Montgomery, but different market dynamics because of the port economy and different neighborhood concentration patterns. This is the not weird, not pretty, just cheap house. Sometimes that is the right house to buy. Number 6. N. Brockway Drive, Montgomery, Alabama, $42,000. Yes, we are back in Montgomery. No, this one is different. $42,000, 3 beds, 1.5 baths, 1,100 square feet, and this one has new paint and new LVP flooring already done. The seller is positioning this as a semi-renovated property, not a gut job. That shifts the conversation. You are not buying a problem, you are buying something that somebody already put some money into, and the question is whether they did it right and what is left to do. The listing pitches it as either a first home or an investment property and flags it as is. That as-is language always matters. It means whatever you find during inspection is yours to deal with. But the combination of cosmetic work already done plus the as-is designation suggests the seller updated the visible stuff and is not making promises about the systems underneath. For a viewer watching this list build, this is the first house on the list that feels like something a normal person might actually buy without a construction background. That matters for how you tell this story on screen. Number 5. 2nd Avenue Southwest, Fayette, Alabama, $62,500. We just left the big cities and landed in a small Alabama town, and the value just shifted dramatically. $62,500. Brick construction, 4 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, nearly half an acre, an outbuilding on the property, an open concept layout, and a concrete driveway with paved access on a lot with almost half an acre of land. Fayette, Alabama, sits in a county of about 16,000 people. The median household income in Fayette County runs around $49,000, and the crime picture is dramatically quieter than anything we have seen today. Neighborhood Scout puts violent crime risk at roughly 1 in 680. Compare that to Birmingham's 1 in 140, and you are talking about an entirely different daily reality. The listing says it would make a beautiful home with a little work, and one of the sellers is a licensed Alabama real estate agent, which means at minimum someone with professional standing is attached to this transaction. Sold as is, cash or conventional only, but the bones are brick, the lot is generous, and 4 bedrooms at this price point in a quiet small-town market is genuinely hard to find. This is the first house on the list that feels like a practical cheap home story instead of a spectacle. 5 houses left. We are about to hit the stretch where the math starts to actually make sense, or at least starts to feel like it could. A house with fruit trees and road frontage, a downtown building already zoned commercial, and the number 1 house on this list that I think is the strongest paper deal we have seen all video, but I'm still holding back what I promised you at the start. We are almost there. Don't go anywhere.
Number 4. 5th Ave N, Pell City, Alabama, $55,000. Pell City is about 40 minutes east of Birmingham, and it has something the bigger cities have been missing in this video: a housing market where the median household income is over $68,000. This house is $55,000, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1,536 square feet on a quarter-acre corner lot with a fenced yard. It was cut $14,000 from its original asking price, which is a significant reduction and signals that either the original price was wrong or the property has been sitting long enough that the seller is motivated. Here is what sets it apart from everything we have seen below it. The listing says the electrical has already been updated, along with interior flooring, paint, fixtures, and bathroom work. That is not a gut job. That is a house that someone started improving and then decided to sell instead of finish. You are buying into a project that is partially done, which changes the math considerably. Pell City's crime picture is also materially better than the bigger Alabama cities. Violent crime odds are roughly 1 in 336, better than Montgomery, better than Mobile, better than Birmingham. For a buyer trying to evaluate risk alongside price, that gap matters. Corner lot, fenced yard, partially updated, quarter acre, 15 minutes from the Talladega Superspeedway if that matters to you. This is the maybe a real starter home recovery project house. Number 3. Antioch Road in Andalusia, Alabama, $65,000. Now we're talking. $65,000 in Andalusia, which is in Covington County in south-central Alabama, about 90 miles north of Pensacola. And the listing is stacked. 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, 1,923 square feet on nearly half an acre, newer windows already in, a deep well on the property, fruit trees, pecan trees, and 257 feet of road frontage, which is not a throwaway detail. That is a significant amount of street exposure for a private residential lot, and it matters if you ever think about what the land itself could be worth independently. The listing says it is close to town, situated in the Strawn School District, and only needs a little TLC. That TLC language is always relative. It could mean paint and landscaping, or it could mean more, but the combination of updated windows, functional well, mature trees, and real acreage makes this one of the most complete-sounding cheap Alabama houses we have seen today. Andalusia is a small city of about 8,800 people with a median household income around $42,000. The crime rate per 1,000 residents runs roughly 41 citywide, with wide neighborhood variation. This is not a zero-risk rural paradise, but the profile is different from Birmingham or Montgomery. Nearly 2,000 square feet, half an acre, fruit trees, and a deep well for $65,000. This is the point in the video where viewers start doing math. Number 2. 330 South Central Ave in Alexander City, Alabama, $68,000. This is the most surprising house on the entire list. $68,000 in Alexander City, which sits on Lake Martin in east central Alabama, about an hour from Birmingham. 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, 1,966 square feet on half an acre, built in 1920. Front porch, back deck, wood floors in multiple rooms, formal dining room, eat-in kitchen, and fireplaces in both the living room and one of the bedrooms. But here's why this house is number 2 and not number 8. It is zoned for both residential and commercial activity, and someone has already paid for the expensive stuff. New roof in 2021, new HVAC in 2022, new water heater in 2024, brand new deck in 2025. Those are not cosmetic upgrades. Those are the high-dollar mechanical and structural items that kill the budget on old houses. Somebody already wrote those checks. What's left? The listing still says sold as is, and it is from 1920, so there are always unknowns with old houses, but the calculus on this one is different from every house we've covered before it. You are not walking into a money pit with unknown mechanicals. You are walking into a century-old downtown building that is already zoned for commercial activity, sits on half an acre in a lake town with tourism traffic, and has a fresh roof over your head. Alexander City's median household income sits at $47,000, with poverty running around 25% citywide. Crime grade gives it a D+ overall, but this is not a city average purchase. This is a specific downtown location with mixed-use zoning on half-an-acre lot, and that changes the opportunity profile significantly. This is your mixed-use downtown fixer, where the expensive stuff may already be partly handled. That's a rare find in any price range. One house left, the #1 spot. And then, after that, I'm showing you what I held back from the beginning of this video, the house I didn't rank, the one I wasn't sure what to do with. Stay through the #1, because what comes after it is the reason I made this video.
19th Street S, Bessemer, Alabama, $59,900. On paper, this is the best deal in the video. $59,900, already cut $10,000 from the original ask. 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, 1,430 square feet, built in 1935, and the listing calls it move-in ready. Not a flipper project, not an investor special, move-in ready. The seller specifically calls out a huge kitchen as the standout interior feature, and the terms are cash or conventional only. Bessemer is directly southwest of Birmingham, folded into the Birmingham metro, and that location gives it proximity to a real job market. The house itself checks every box that the other entries on this list failed to check. It is not a church, it does not have fire damage, the title is not a question mark. It is just a cheap, older, move-in ready house in the Birmingham suburbs that has already taken a price cut and is waiting for a buyer. And then you look at the city data. Bessemer's overall crime rate runs about 87 incidents per 1,000 residents, according to Neighborhood Scout. The combined odds of becoming a victim of violent or property crime are roughly 1 in 11. That is not a typo. 1 in 11.